Hello, cinephiles. Welcome to Book of Recaps. Join our cinephile family with just one click. A massive alien spacecraft arrives on Earth and hovers over South Africa. After 3 months of no activity from the ship, authorities finally decide to break inside, only to find a group of aliens in a skeletal state due to running out of supplies long ago. These aliens are derogatorily labeled as prawns by humans. There are rumors of a shuttle descending from the mothership, but no one can locate it. Under international pressure, the South African government relocates 1.8 million prawns to a refugee camp called District 9. Scholars believe these prawns are the worker caste of their species, so they typically rely on higher leaders to guide them and rarely show initiative. Despite being surrounded by soldiers and fences, the first few months in the district are calm, and it's discovered that aliens have a fondness for cat food. However, as time goes on, human unrest grows due to the government allocating too many resources to the aliens instead of addressing the needs of their own people. District 9 deteriorates into a slum, fueling further xenophobia among the populace. The aliens' perception of certain violent activities, such as vandalizing vehicles, as mere sources of energy and entertainment exacerbates the situation. Eventually, the area becomes overcrowded and a breeding ground for various forms of crime. Warlord Obi Sancho establishes a vast black market in District 9, involving the trade of goods, services, and arms, including the employment of women. Although the aliens possess advanced technology, human hands struggle to operate their weapons. 28 years later, escalating tensions between aliens and locals force the government to yield to public pressure, prompting the decision to relocate the camp to a remote area. They enlist the services of MNU, a weapons manufacturer, whose executive Mr. Smith appoints his son-in-law, Wikus, to oversee the relocation. Accompanying Wikus are a group of mercenaries for his protection and to enforce compliance among resistant aliens. Additionally, Wikus is joined by his assistant and a cameraman to document the process. Despite Wikus's discomfort with the abundance of weapons brought by the mercenaries, Colonel Venter dismisses his concerns. A convoy of vehicles transports the team to the district amidst electronic protests, and when some aliens attempt to attack, the mercenaries respond with lethal force. Wikus goes door to door, asking aliens to sign eviction forms, occasionally using cat food as leverage. While some aliens agree to cooperate, others resist being removed from their homes and engage in fights, prompting the mercenaries to use force despite Wikus's objections. In one house, they discover a room filled wall-to-wall with prawn eggs, which Wikus orders to be burned after showing them to the camera. The shacks also hide a wealth of alien technology, seized by the mercenaries for MNU's testing, even if they haven't fully understood it yet. Meanwhile, Christopher, his son CJ, and their friend Paul scavenge for a special alien fluid among discarded prawn technology accumulating in the trash. After 2 decades of searching, CJ finally finds a piece of the fluid, and they eagerly bring it home to a hidden room filled with advanced technology. They synthesize the fluid and store it in a silver cylinder for their plan, but Wikus and his team unexpectedly arrive at their door. Christopher and CJ hurry to stash the cylinder, while Paul confronts the humans. Refusing to cooperate, Paul is swiftly subdued by the mercenaries at gunpoint. Wikus enters the house, discovering a cache of weapons and the cylinder, which he inadvertently activates, causing it to spray his face. After seizing the cylinder, Wikus attempts to question Paul, but Paul reacts by throwing a mercenary into his house and shoving Wikus onto a barrel of fire. Colonel Venter and more men arrive, swiftly killing Paul while Wikus realizes he has burned his arm. After receiving medical attention, Wikus resumes his duties and eventually reaches Christopher's house. He tries to offer candy to CJ, but CJ responds by throwing it at him, provoking the humans to push Christopher down and search the house, where they find various equipment. While searching, Wikus suddenly vomits a strange liquid and feels dizzy. The team decides to take him away, but during a meal break, Wikus's nose starts bleeding. More symptoms emerge as Wikus returns to the office to complete his reports. He can't stop coughing, and his nails are coming loose. Meanwhile, back in the district, Christopher and CJ search for the cylinder and feel disheartened when they discover it's gone. Meanwhile, a group of aliens trades their battlesuit for cat food at the warlord's base, but one of the men kills an alien to use as food. Obisanjo has been employing witches and shamans in a bid to transform into a prawn, believing it will grant him the ability to wield their weapons. These mystics believe that consuming prawn flesh is the key to achieving this transformation. But so far, their efforts have been unsuccessful. Sometime later, Wikus returns home to a surprise party thrown by his wife Tanya to celebrate his promotion. Despite his efforts to be sociable, Wikus feels increasingly unwell. He ends up in the bathroom, vomiting into the sink, and later, when they cut the cake, he vomits again before passing out. The next morning, Wikus wakes up in the hospital, where the doctor uncovers his burned arm, revealing that his hand has transformed into a prawn claw. Terrified, the doctor contacts MNU and soldiers swiftly arrive to take Wikus away in a body bag, ignoring Tanya's desperate pleas for an explanation. Later, at a lab, researchers discover the cylinder in Wikus's pocket and confiscate it. From then on, MNU subjects Wikus to a series of brutal experiments, including testing alien technology. To Wikus's surprise, his new prawn hand enables him to operate the alien weapons. However, he is mentally devastated when forced to shoot a prawn, ultimately shattering him. Once the tests conclude, scientists and executives, including Smith himself, decide to eliminate Wikus to harvest his organs and blood before he fully transforms into a prawn. With his DNA offering a perfect balance between human and prawn traits, they envision creating formidable soldiers capable of utilizing alien weaponry. Upon learning of this plan, Wikus reacts with panic, launching an attack on those around him and taking a hostage with a scalpel to facilitate his escape from the lab before facing gunfire. The mercenaries are deployed to pursue him, while Smith meets with Tanya to distort the truth of the situation. On the streets, Wikus resorts to theft, grabbing clothes from hangers, snatching a phone from a child, and rummaging through trash cans for food, all the while striving to conceal his claw. He attempts to reach out to friends and family for assistance, only to be met with silence. It isn't long before he discovers why upon entering a store. He sees a news broadcast labeling him a wanted fugitive who contracted a contagious disease through intimate contact with the prawns. The customers flee from him, leaving Wikus with no option but to head to District 9. There, he scrounges for survival and even manages to secure a can of cat food, which he eagerly consumes until he realizes he's losing his teeth as well. At that moment, Wikus receives a call from Tanya, who informs him she wants nothing to do with him anymore because he disgusts her. Despite his attempts to explain, Tanya ends the call abruptly, leaving Wikus desperate to win her back. He grabs an axe in a desperate bid to remove his claw, but nerves and pain limit him to only one finger before he has to stop. Suddenly, helicopters belonging to the mercenaries begin scouring the area for him. Wikus hurriedly seeks refuge inside a nearby house, where he unexpectedly encounters Christopher and discovers his secret room just before passing out from blood loss. Upon regaining consciousness, Wikus finds himself inside the rumored shuttle hidden beneath Christopher's house. When Wikus admits he no longer possesses the cylinder, Christopher and CJ explain that they need the fluid to power the mothership and potentially develop a machine capable of reversing Wikus's transformation. However, retrieving the cylinder is deemed impossible due to the risk of immediate death at the hands of the mercenaries. In the following hours, Wikus endures excruciating pain as his body undergoes transformation, shedding skin and mutating his torso. Suddenly, Wikus receives another call from Tanya, who promises to reconcile and show more understanding. However, unbeknownst to him, this call is a trap set by the MNU who used Tanya's lies to track Wikus's location. Meanwhile, CJ confides in Christopher about his longing for their home planet, but Christopher reminds him they cannot leave without the fluid. Instead, they consider heading to the new settlement. Overhearing this, Wikus feels empathy for them and warns them that the new territory is even worse than their current situation, advising against going there. Determined to help the prawns and reunite with his wife in a better state, Wikus devises a plan. He visits Obisanjo to procure weapons, but is met with disdain and violence. When Obisanjo's men notice Wikus's transformed body, they attempt to capture him for Obisanjo to consume his claw. Wikus fights back, seizing an alien weapon and unleashing its incredible power, quickly dispatching several men and escaping with a bag of weapons. Meanwhile, mercenaries arrive at Christopher's shack, only to find it empty. Unbeknownst to them, Christopher and Wikus sneak into the MNU base by detonating the entrance. Upon arrival, they engage in a firefight, eliminating several guards before locating the cylinder. However, Christopher also discovers numerous prawns killed in experiments, including Paul. The shock renders him immobile, giving the mercenaries time to close in and open fire. Wikus retaliates, taking down numerous mercenaries while reminding Christopher of CJ's future, snapping him out of his daze. Christopher improvises a bomb from scraps in the lab, creating an opening in the wall. Wikus and Christopher dash outside, commandeering an MNU car to return to District 9, with Venter and his men in hot pursuit. Upon reaching the house, CJ begins loading the fluid into the shuttle, prompting Christopher to confess his plan to return in 3 years to cure Wikus. As the current supply of fluid isn't sufficient for both powering the shuttle and the healing machine. Enraged, Wikus knocks out Christopher and descends into the shuttle, where CJ is finishing the fluid transfer and successfully reactivates the shuttle. Desperate to operate it, Wikus is confronted by Venter, who threatens to kill Christopher. Suddenly, the ground trembles, prompting Venter and Christopher to flee the house just before the shuttle ascends unsteadily. Venter commands his men to open fire, resulting in a missile striking one of the shuttle's engines, causing it to crash back to the ground. Christopher can only watch as his last hope is dashed. Afterward, Venter's men capture Christopher and Wikus, intending to take them away in their vehicle. However, they are ambushed by Obese and Joe's gang, leading to a collision between their cars and Venter's. A fierce firefight ensues between the gang and the mercenaries, until the gang manages to seize Wikus and flee, leaving Christopher behind. Meanwhile, CJ successfully manages to activate the mothership from the shuttle's panel. At the gang's base, Wikus is brought to the witches in an attempt to perform the ritual using his claw. However, when CJ activates the mothership, it triggers the activation of all other alien technology, including a hidden battlesuit within the gang's base. The suit scans the area, identifying Wikus as an ally and the gang members as enemies, prompting it to open fire and eliminate Obese. Meanwhile, back with the mercenaries, some interrogate Christopher about the reactivated mothership, while the others pursue Wikus. Surrounded, Wikus is forced to don the suit and confront them head-on. Spotting the mercenaries holding Christopher captive, Wikus offers to trade the alien technology for Christopher's freedom, but rescinds the offer upon hearing Venter's order to kill Christopher. Enraged, Wikus mercilessly dispatches the mercenaries to save Christopher. They hastily make their way back to the shuttle, but with more mercenaries closing in, Wikus opts to stay behind to buy Christopher time, rejecting Christopher's invitation to his planet. As a token of gratitude, Christopher promises to return in 3 years to cure Wikus. Wikus continues to eliminate mercenaries with brutal efficiency, leaving a trail of carnage in his wake, flipping cars, and even firing missiles. As Wikus prepares to shoot Venter, a car collides with him from behind, causing him to fall and the suit to malfunction. Meanwhile, Christopher uses the shuttle control panel to contact the mothership, instructing it to extract the shuttle so they can escape. The mothership emits a tractor beam, lifting the shuttle into the air, prompting Venter to order another missile strike. Wikus intervenes, using his suit to intercept the missile, resulting in the destruction of his left arm. Seeing Christopher and CJ escaping with the mothership infuriates Venter, leading him to shoot at the suit until it's destroyed. Wikus emerges from the wreckage, his left eye swollen and yellow, indicating his transformation is nearly complete. Venter prepares to kill him, but before he can, a group of prawns arrive and eliminate Venter to save Wikus, who is now regarded as one of their own. Sometime later, humans celebrate the departure of the mothership from Earth. Wikus's assistant exposes MNU's illegal research, prompting the government to safely relocate all 2.5 million prawns to the new District 10 before demolishing District 9. Wikus's story becomes infamous, but fades from public consciousness over time, with most assuming he's dead. However, Tanya remains convinced Wikus is alive after finding a handcrafted metal flower at her door, a hobby he always enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to join our family.